Next up, moving to Warrior. Starting with Sun Fury Champion. 1 mana, 1/3. After you cast a fire spell, deal 1 damage to all minions. Now, in the interests of, let's say, getting this right for Warrior, here are our fire spells in Standard right now. Most of them come from this set. We got Light of the Phoenix, Blazing Power, Sunfire Smithing, and Embers of Strength, all from this set that we're going to see. And otherwise, we got Forged in Flames and Fires of Zin Ajari. The reason I bring this up is to mention that when I looked at this list, I think you can maybe assume the Sun Fury Champion is going to get between 0 to 2 procs off. Maybe.
Yeah.
2 is on the high end. I think the most common outcome here is you get 1 proc off this, maybe.
I mean, I guess the idea is you could also use it to damage your stuff, and then
yeah. So what you do is
so you play it, and then you damage your stuff. So you get a board, and then you go Sun Fury Champion, whatever, like Blazing. You go like Embers of Strength. Oh, that sounds actually super reliable. You go.
Yeah, so what you do is you coin or play Axe on 3, and then you play Sun Fury Champion, Embers of Strength afterwards, and then you swing your Axe instantly to buff all the damaged minions.
Yeah. So it's like not as good risky skipper, but
it's definitely no risky skipper.
But it's 'cause, I mean, it only works with fire spells instead of minions, but the effect in theory is useful. So I'll give it. And it's a 1 mana 1/3. Yes. So I'll give it a 3.
I'm going to go for a 2 on it, mostly because I can see the archetype being played with or without this particular card. Okay. But maybe this does have its applications. Next up, speaking of, we got Blazing Power. 2 mana fire spell. Give a minion +1/+1. Repeat for each damaged friendly character that counts your face.
Yeah, and their face. That's
no,
good, right?
It's friendly.
Oh, Oh, it's friendly? Oh, that's so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like 3, like if you're playing aggro when this is really good, you don't have a damaged face. Is that bad? That'd be bad.
So does work with eggs. Keep saying eggs.
Eggs. Eggs just haven't like been good enough in a long time. So that's tough.
So it's kind of comparable to Rampage. The target doesn't have to be damaged, but the buff isn't necessarily as big. But it could be as big or it could be bigger.
Yeah, so if I have 1 damage minion in this, it's +2/+2. So I need to.
Your face is damaged, and you have 1 damaged minion, it's +3/+3, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm going with a 2 on this just because I can see the archetype again existing with or without.
I mean, if you have 6 minions and your face is damaged, obviously that's really good. But I thought it was also all characters, so that makes a huge difference. So I'll give it a 2. So.
Sure. All right, next up, Embers of Strength. 2 mana fire spell, summon 2 1/2 guards with taunt. Mana thirst 6, give them +1/+2. So that'll be 2 4s after 6.
This seems like it has synergy with the deck. It gets better at late in the game. Cards like this see play just without the bonus. I mean, this is at least a 3, I think. I mean, it's just not good enough to be a 4, so I'll give it a 3.
No.
But it looks very useful. So
I'm still going with a 2 on this. I think it's a good card. I do. And I can also see the Enraged Warrior archetype existing with or without this particular card being a part of it.
It just, so, okay.
Yeah. Next up, Asvedon the Great Shield. 3 mana, 3/3 legendary. Battle Cry. Cast a copy of the last spell your opponent played.
This is terrible, right? Like,
why do I do this?
What?
I'm not excited for this.
What am I gonna? What is this? Where's the chat? What's the crazy thing that this does? Oh, I can brawl after.
Fight against big spell mage or.
So it's a tech, but a legendary tech for Rooted Archmage.
It's a legendary tech for after your opponent does something powerful.
Yeah. Oh, too bad they played Rooted Archmage and high rolled into a First Flame, and they played that. So sorry about that. Like,
you could just do something simple, like your opponent plays Arcane Intellect, and then you play this, and you have 3/3 that draws 2. Sure, whatever, but
I'm giving this a 1. So
yeah, I'll give it a 1 too. I don't really want to put it in my decks. It's a better Vanessa, I think, but it's a weird one.
Better Vanessa? I'm not sure. I mean, this is last spell.
Yep, but it does play. You don't have to stick around spending your.
But play sometimes, like a lot of times, is bad. Like if it's the 2 mana, like if you get like a deal 3 damage to a minion, like from Rogue, then it's just I just killed my own minion. Sometimes
True.
I can't target it. Where Vanessa, I can very much target it. So Vanessa's a 2 mana.
Good.
So, but Vanessa has been good enough in certain metas, right? So it's like
good enough in certain metas is not good.
Yeah, and this I think is good enough. Never. That's like so. Yeah. Anyways.
Fair enough. Next up, Last Stand. 4 mana, draw a taunt minion. Double its stats.
These cards are so. This stuff never works. I feel like giant taunt minions just die to get stolen by Sylvanas. All your hard work.
Even that, they can forget about even like killing or stealing. They can just rush into it with Scale of Onyxia.
Yeah.
Kills it.
Like this shouldn't be 4 mana. This should be like draw 1 card. Like how? What's this? Does this taunt have like battle cry win the game if you have 8 attack or more? Like, what is this?
Get Injured Marauder. Your 4 mana 5/10. Make that battle cry deals like 6 damage to itself. Make that into a 10/14 for 4. But really, you get the doubling battle cries. There's the 5 mana 4/4 that if you attacked with a weapon this turn, summons a copy of itself, so you get 2 8/8s.
I'm gonna go with the 1. I just efficient stats just don't make the cut in Hearthstone. They're too vulnerable. Like
you gotta build a weird deck and conditionally draw the right card.
Yeah.
Nope, it's a 1. Doesn't even win the game when you do it. Next up, Light of the Phoenix. 4 mana fire spell, draw 2 cards. Costs 1 less for each damage-friendly character, including face.
Yeah, I mean, this is good, but, like, it's just a draw 3 cards. It's just, like, this deck needs more card draw, but it's good.
It's like cutting class.
Yeah, I give this a 4. It's probably really... I mean, this card is so good in the Rage archetype, but just...
This is the nuts card for the Enrage archetype. You need card draw. This doesn't help.
They always run out of stuff, so yeah. Okay.
And even if you're just your face is damaged, it's still Arcane Intellect with which other decks might want. So it's got applications. Next up, Sunfire Smithing. 4 mana fire spell, equip a 4/2 sword. You have a random minion in your hand, +4/+2.
It seems like a one-time use Valinor, It's like that's what it reminds me of. But like,
I'm pretty high on this card actually. I think this is one of the best fire cards.
Interesting. I'm not sure. This one's one like I have a hard time evaluating because like the 4/2
frenzied.
Yeah.
It's Frenzied Ghoul, right? The 2 mana 1/4 that can get charged when it's damaged. You got that. You got Mr. Smite. You got Grom. Whatever the case is, you try and land this on a charge
I guess
minion.
it's likely to give you land on your charge minion. That makes sense.
And if you land it on a charge minion, this is 4 mana for 12 damage. And if you play a Weapons Expert and upgrade that weapon, you get a 4 attack weapon the turn you play it. Then Weapons Expert makes that into
it's hard to use over the Infuse X. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think this is so much burst damage. It's going to be underrated.
I'm in the 4 mana cards need to be OP. I'm not a believer. I'm gonna go with 1. So I see. Yeah, I just think these cards just aren't good enough. So in 2022. So
next up, speaking of fire, we got Thoriar Belor. 4 mana 4/4 elemental legendary. Rush, Death Rattle, go dormant, cast a fire spell to revive it, and it revives 2 times. So in total, you can get 3 uses out of this minion, including the time you cast it.
Well, it comes in dormant?
No, you play it. It's a 4/4 with Rush.
Okay, yeah.
And then it can go dormant twice and get ready.
So I can use this. I mean, I can get more enrage procs, right? Like, because I can just keep playing a fire spell, rush this into something, and then go like, maybe this is good. Okay. I thought this was bad at first.
12 worth of Rush for 4 mana.
Yeah, okay. I'll give it a... maybe it is really good, actually.
At first, I wasn't super excited about it. And the more I've thought about it, the happier I am with this.
Yeah, I thought that too, and now I also thought it was like 2 fire spells for some reason. All right, this actually might be insane. Because like being able to rush on stuff, because then you get a damage minion after you rush on something.
Yep. Which makes your axe better, lets you draw more cards.
All right, I'll give this a 4. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm on a 3. I think it's still very good. This card just really grew on me.
Okay.
Looks very pretty. Next up, Disruptive Spellbreaker. 5 mana, 4/5. At the end of the turn, your opponent discards a spell.
People hate this card. This card's so bad. I don't know if you were like, oh my god, it's just people.
If you look at the card text on this, you know people are going to put this in their deck eventually.
Yeah, because they love these kind of cards.
Yep.
I mean,
they love it because I hate it.
Yeah. So, Blizzard has to appeal to the hate J. Alexander crew to make all that easy disruption money. So,
is it a Lotheb?
A Lotheb? No, I mean I think it's a 1. So,
I'm going at least 2 on it. I can maybe even be talked up into a 3.
Oh, chat will read this. Yeah, I'll have to justify every day. Like, you know, is this the next ticket? I mean, it's a spell. It's not even a minion. Who cares? You lose the coin.
Well,
you know, it's like
if you do curve out aggressively, even, and then on turn 5 you kind of drop this, and your opponent all of a sudden doesn't have a way to answer your board that they used to. That's really obnoxious. It's not even just an attrition card. You can use it kind of as a Lotheby effect.
Yeah, I guess if you play it and your opponent can't remove it, then it gets really like if you can get multiple uses out of it. But
I had 1 die.
Yeah, I'm still convinced to 1. So, anyways,
all right. I'm gonna actually bump myself up to a 3 then. Let's be
all right.
What's up? Silver Fury Stalwart. This is nice. 6 mana, 4/8. Taunt Rush can't be targeted by spells or hero powers.
Well, this is the card you're supposed to double, and then you have an 8/16 can't be targeted, and then they go Sylvanas, and you're screwed.
Or they scale it. That kills most of it.
They scale, and they're behind on tempo, but they win in the long run because of ramp. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 1. So
that seems smart. Doesn't look very appealing. And now we're on to neutrals.
Be right back. I'll take a quick bathroom break. So
yeah, sure.
Let's see.
I'll hang out. Man, Fire Warrior is so weird. It's one of those things that I can see playing or not playing pretty much all the fire spells in like one deck. You can make a full fire in Rage Warrior. Or you could kind of cut down to just the draw card. Or maybe the draw card plus the smithing or whatever. You can split that up so many different ways. They don't all depend on each other, which is nice. They're all like, a lot of them are 2s for some of the fire cards, but I can see those being even better. But man, Sunfire Smithing. I think people are going to sleep on this card probably a lot more than other cards. This ends games. This ends games real fast. If you land this on a charge minion, that's 12 damage, minimum. Sometimes more. The only bad thing about this card is how it kind of conflicts with your imbued axe. But even if you just land the buff on a not charged minion, it's still +4/+2. And you still just keep punching them in the face. That's 4 mana for a 4/2 weapon and a 4/2 buff in 1 card. That's not even that bad. And it also resurrects our Phoenix. If you want to play the Phoenix, that's another good card to have in your deck. Let me see. How many charge minions did I run in my Fire Warrior here? That's Paladin. No, it's down below. What charge minions do we want to run? Oh man. That's the one I forgot. I knew I was forgetting one. Decimator Olgra. You land the weapon buff on Decimator Olgra? Oof. Everything. Because now Decimator Olgra starts off as, what, a 7/8? And then it gets buffed up for all the opponent stuff? Oh my god. Holy shit, that kills people. That kills people so badly. You could land the buff on the Rush minion. 7/9, or whatever it is. You could land the buff on this thing. That's still pretty good. Oh, good, you're back. Alright.
Alright, I'm back.
So we're going to start off then with Arms Dealer. Our 1 mana 1/2 undead After you summon undead, give it +1 attack.
We were desperate for 1-drops, and we were trying this out, and it just never felt good. And I don't know. Maybe it makes it in the green
summed
archetype.
up a lot of feelings on that very well.
What?
The undead archetype really needs a 1-drop. And this is not a good 1-drop.
Yeah. I mean, it might see play because you're desperate for 1-drops, but I feel like this is a 1, so.
Yeah, this feels like a 1 to me. At first, I thought you had like this little aggressive undead package with Arms Dealer and Banshee and Egg and all that, and then I scrapped that over time. Speaking of, next up we got Banshee.
I think
A
it's
1
also
mana,
a 1, yeah.
1 undead. Death Rattle, give a friendly undead +2/+1. So,
These cards are so bad. Like, how does this exist? I don't know. It's so bad. Like,
yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the idea was on this. I assume it has something to do with the egg, but it's just not something that
I forgot there's the foul egg. Oh, I can play that on 1. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
If Banshee lands precisely on egg, you got something good. If you play Banshee on 1, then Amalgamate on 2, maybe, but
it's
crap.
Think about this of like compared to the risk of this on 1 versus Peasant. Where Peasant, if it sticks, I draw a million cards. You know, so yeah.
That's a big issue. Not good for its competition. I'm on a 1 for this too.
Yeah.
And next up, we got Foul Egg. 1 mana 0/2 undead. Death Rattle. Summon a 3/3 undead chicken.
I love this card. I'm not sure. I'm gonna give it a 4. So.
Okay, I'm gonna give it at least a 2. I could be talked up to a 3.
I mean, there's a giant set of synergies for this, and it's overstated if it dies. So it's like
I can see this in Warrior. I can see this in Paladin. I can see this in Warlock.
Yeah,
it's got too much going for it. I think to just write it off at all.
I'm gonna give it a 4. It's gonna be the new eggs are back. So that's all I'm trying to make. Yeah. So yeah. Okay.
Next up, Astalor Bloodsworn, 2 mana 2/2 Battlecry. Add Astalor the Protector to your hand. Mana Thirst 4, deal 2 damage. Astalor the Protector, 5 mana 5/5. Add a Flamebringer to your hand. Mana Thirst 7, gain 7 armor. And Flamebringer, 8 mana 8/8. Battlecry, deal 8 damage, randomly split among all enemies. Mana Thirst 10, deal 8 more.
Yeah, this card's a 4, right?
I think so.
It's just like the 8 mana to deal 16 is like so ridiculous, you know. So
it goes in every single Renathal deck instantly.
Yeah.
And then all Renathal decks are working with another one of the same finishers, and people start complaining that Astalor is a problem.
So
it's a good card. It's a very good card. I don't know. Does this go in any 30 decks?
Yeah, I don't know why not. It's like, I mean, it's a card that goes. I mean, the Renathal decks have a bias towards value because they can use the value because they don't die. So this is a high value card, and the efficiency of the later stuff is really good too. Like once you, I mean, like the 8 mana cards pretty efficient too. The other cards, like on their own, are moderate tempo.
I was thinking maybe 30 Frost Death Knight would like this. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's a good card, regardless.
Yeah.
Next up, Bone Flanger. 2 mana 2/3 undead. Battlecry. If a friendly undead died after your last turn, deal 2 damage.
It's like annoying. Like I don't know. So it's I think it's a 1. I think this is good enough.
Yeah, my heart tells me 2, but my brain tells me 1 because I don't. I've not theorycrafted an undead deck that looks to be good with this type of effect. That's all.
Yeah. 1 second. Randy, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, buddy. So yeah.
I tried so hard to make so many decks with this, and I just. Well, no, actually, give it 2. Never mind. I forget. Death Knight exists.
Okay.
In some Death Knight decks specifically, this could work. Outside of Death Knight, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Next up, Coroner. 2 mana 2/2 Battlecry. Freeze an enemy minion. Mana Thirst 6. Silence it first.
Interesting. This is a hard. I mean, this is a tech card. Like, if I silence in the late game, I can freeze. So that might, but I don't know. This one's really. I don't know what to think. What do you think?
Well, starting off, it's a Burlock without the Murloc tag. 2 mana 2/2 freeze an enemy minion.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 for silence at first. I'm not putting this in my decks, basically. This is not making my deck work. That's all I'm thinking.
You're a tempo go face player, you know.
I am a tempo
I
go
never
face
win the
player.
game. Just torture my opponent and make my opponent discard spells. Running this card, like, you know, I don't know. It's like
I don't know what you really want to silence starting on turn 6. That's
all the OP shaman cards that are coming down, right? So I don't know. But I mean, yeah.
I don't
So
you have to spend a turn drawing this, man. That feels terrible.
I'm gonna give it a 2 because, I mean, when it does work, it's like it could be a neutral late game silence. Which, if there's like a powerful 6-drop minion that you want to freeze and silence, it's a tech card. That's so. It's yeah. So
People do love tech cards. There you go.
I mean, I give it a 2 to tech cards that might see play. So yeah, okay. So yeah, okay.
Next up, Incorporeal Corporal. 2 mana 5/5 undead. After this minion attacks, destroy it.
This is such a weird one. Because it's like, yeah.
I think it has potential roles in aggressive Shadow Priest.
Yeah, I mean,
what's neat about
yeah, you can do 5. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, you could trade
It's
on
like
a
Mind
minion.
Blast. It's undead, so you can animate dead it back. You can activate your undead synergies with it. So your 5 mana spell, for instance, that deals 2 and then deals 2 again. If you put the Corporal in play and your opponent's turn they kill it, your Shadow Spell's active. And then if you attack with it, your Shadow Spell's also
Yeah,
active.
it's kind of like you can play it and just be super annoying, where like your opponent can't kill it, can't attack into it. So it's just, and then you can use it when you decide you want to, you know.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a 2.
Chet convinced me with all the 3s in my chat. I'm gonna go with 3. So yeah.
There it is. Next up, Infected Peasant. 2 mana 2/1 Death Rattle. Summon a 2/2 Undead Peasant. I think we have 2 very good points of reference for this card.
Yeah, this is like the reborn guy, the 2/2, right?
Shotbot.
Yeah.
Shotbot. It's like a Shotbot or a Mini-bot, depending on how you look at it.
I mean,
Pop the Divine Shield, then kill a 2/2.
like, this is not that good, but like might be good enough. So I think I give it a 2. So
I'm going for a 3 on this. Well, not only because it is that kind of annoying Shotbot Mini-bot thing that can stick, but it also is undead on the back end, and there are some undead synergies. Shaman might like it, and Aggressive Priest might like it.
I do like the sound. Death feels good.
I haven't heard it yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so, okay.
Next up, Umbral Geist. 2 mana 3/1 Undead. Death Rattle. Add a random shadow spell to your hand. I've looked at shadow spells. They are all over the damn place. They can be expensive. They can be cheap. They can do a lot of different things.
2 mana cards like this seems garbage. I'm gonna go with a 1. So
yeah, I'm gonna go with a 1/2. The only real application I've ever thought about for this is multicaster. Other than that, no.
yeah. Okay.
Next up, Vrykruel Necrolite. 2 mana 2/2 Undead. Battlecry, give a friendly minion Death Rattle, summon 2/2 zombie with Rush. Good with that Shaman 1-drop.
Oh yeah,
as well.
That is good with that Shaman 1-drop. This card was really hard to use, but it was in the wrong deck for us. But we were desperate for 2-drops. But I think I'll give it a 2 because it could have fringe. Like, it's a neutral, so in the right deck, it could be a 1 though. But that Shaman neutral does seem decent on. All right,
I'm gonna go as high as a 3. Again, for the same reasons. Shadow Priest and Shaman. They both want undead activators. Shaman wants the Death Rattle.
Okay.
They're just, I think it's neat enough. Next up, Amber Whelp. 3 mana 3/3 dragon. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage. Scale Rider went up. Deals an extra damage and comes with a dragon tag.
Yeah, this might be good enough. Like, this is, I mean, 3-drops deal 3 if you have a dragon deck. I know Bunny Hopper tried to run.
Paladin.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you have dragons that make this reliable, it's quite good, right? So,
yep.
I'll give it a 3.
I'll go 2 on it. See it in that Paladin deck, which might actually be a real deck, because Akasan does kill people. Next up, Bloody Knight. 3 mana 4/5. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to your hero.
So it's overstated. The overstat's usually not good, but there could be a deck where like this actually helps you, right? Like taking damage, like some sort of warlock deck.
Quest Warlock.
Yeah, Quest Warlock. Ooh, but I mean, I'm not sure which deck uses this, but like, I don't feel like I give this a 3, but I feel like this has to. In 2 years, there's lots of opportunities for this to see play and be good enough. So I'll give it a 2.
I'll stick to a 1 for now, but I could even see it in some aggressive decks, maybe. Aggressive Paladin. Who knows?
Yeah.
Next up, Brittle Skin Zombie. 3 mana 4/3.
I can run Bloody Knight in. Oh, I ran this in Rage Warrior. Now I'm self damaged. You know, just thinking.
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah,
okay.
sure.
okay.
Next up, Brittle Skin Zombie. 3 mana 4/3. Undead. Death Rattle. If it's your opponent's turn, deal 3 damage to them.
To the face.
Oh yeah, right to the face.
So it's kind. This is kind of like the 4/3 for priest that deals 3 damage to the face, right?
Yes, except that does it all the time.
Yeah.
Shadowed
But
Spirit,
this
I
is
think
neutral.
Yes.
And this could be redundancy, where if you want to build that deck, now you have 2 cards that are kind of like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So
I
think
don't want to build that deck, however.
Yeah. I could see for redundancy reasons, I mean, this being a thing, like you run it in like some aggro Shadow Priest and you run a ton of these and you revive them over and over again. I'll give it a 2, so.
All right. I'll go for a 1 on that.
Okay.
Next up, Crystal Worker. 3 mana 3/2, Mana Thirst 5, summon a random 3-cost minion. Mana Thirst 10, summon an 8-cost minion instead.
I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yep.
Just like it's like, well, it's so understated, so it's just terrible without the Mana Thirst, and even like at 5 mana, it's like that's not a random 3-drop, and a 3/2 is not that good for 3 mana, you know, like so.
Only thing I can think of for 5 is if you're evolving this with muck pools, but
Oh, okay.
you can also just on 4 instead do Crud Caretaker, which is probably better than this.
Yeah. I mean, if you get to 10 mana, this is a good card, and that's it. So I don't
big
know.
pass on that.
I mean, do you ever run this in Druid and you ramp to 10 mana and then it's okay?
No, you play alignment in Druid and then you kill them.
Yeah.
Instead of summon random 8-drops.
Okay. Just wait till I get 10 mana. Yeah. All right,
Next up, Drakari and Bomber. 3 mana 3/4 Undead. Battlecry. Give a friendly Undead Reborn.
Yeah, this is hard to use.
It is hard to use, which is a shame because I like that artwork.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1. So
Also going to give it a 1. Next up, Enchanter. 3 mana 3/3. Enemy minions take double damage during your turn. New Moarg.
yeah, I mean, Morag was one of the strongest cards of all time, and this is very similar.
Well,
Yeah, all time is.
yeah, that's a little.
I mean,
bit.
it was used in Warlock. It was used in Demon Hunter. It was used in Priest for a while. It was.
This does not. It doesn't double the damage your minions take, which is nice compared to Moarg.
Yeah.
And this does work for weapons or minion trades or something.
Yeah, I mean, I play this and I play Blood Mage Thalnos, and then I play your 1 mana Fell spell, and I have 6 mana, so I have this, and I completely clear the board and heal. So
Yeah. I'd probably rather play the +2 spell damage minion for 3, because then I hit their face for more, but sure. Enchanter's weird enough. I'm just going to give it a 2. But
it's
I
hard to
think
make
the
decks. I'm gonna give it a
C0
3. I want to give it a 4, but I think it's only a 3. So
this is not going to go in any decks right now. Next up, Hawkstrider Rancher. 3 mana 2/5. After you play a minion, give it +1/+1 and Death Rattle. Summon a 1/1 Hawkstrider, which is a 1/1 beast.
is that really good? That might be really good.
I'm 4ing this.
You're 4ing this. Oh, okay.
I think if you get 1 buff off of this, it's really good. And I think if you
Yeah.
get more than 1 buff off this, it's insane.
I plop this down on turn 2 with coin and against a deck that doesn't have an answer, and oh my god, that is. Yeah, it's kind of like
Shadow Priest and Shaman
It's
again.
kind of reminds me of a Magic Carpet, you know?
Yep. So here's another fun thing you can do. On turn 3, you play Clownfish. And then on turn 4, you play Hawkstrider Rancher. You drop down 2 Murlocs for basically free, buff up both, and they stick with +1/+1 Death Rattles, which then you can also buff again with things like Shadow Suffusion or, whatever.
Yeah.
I think this card is nuts.
Yeah, all right. You convinced me. We'll go 4.
All right. Next up, Nerubian Vizier. 3 mana, 2/4, Battlecry, discover a spell. If a friendly undead died after your last turn, the spell costs 2 less permanently.
I think this is good.
I think it is.
Yeah. Is it a 4 or a 3? It's Elder says it's a 4. Chat, what do you guys think?
I'm going to go with 4 strictly because of Death Knight. This is going to go, I think, in every single Death Knight deck and be good in every single deck.
All right, we'll go with 4. All right.
Outside of Death Knight, I think it sucks dick.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
All right.
Next up, Scourge Rager. 3 mana, 5/4, undead, reborn, Battlecry, die.
I'm just gonna go with my heart on this one and go 4.
All right.
So
I'm going to go 3 on Scourge Rager myself.
it's gonna be meta defining. Scourge Rager is gonna be the Ragers will finally be OP.
Rager Priest may actually be a deck. It probably isn't, but it could be. On that level of, like, no one's going to see it coming. The same way Boar Priest, no one really saw that.
I mean, I'm seeing it coming right now, so...
All right. Scourge Rager, good then.
Yeah. All right.
Next up, Silver Moon Arcanist. 3 mana, 2/2, spell damage +2, Battlecry. Your spells can't target heroes this turn.
That's such a weird card. That's interesting, because, like, if it survives the next turn, it can target.
Yeah. But what you do is use untargetable spells, like Fell Scream, whatever.
Oh,
whatever the new Fell spell is.
That's kind of good. Right?
Yeah, Demon Hunter
if
loves this.
Garrote was like a thing, you could use it like as your,
Like 6 mana, you play this, you play your 1 mana spell, deal 3 to everything, and then you have no minions, and then you deal 8 to them for 2 more damage.
Yeah, it's weird. Another Happy Guildie hasn't been around for a while, but is maybe with all these new synergies,
I don't believe it. This could also go in Hunter. Things like your ricocheting shot for 1 mana.
Yeah, I just draw 5,000 cards. It sounds all right. I would give this a 3. So
I'm at 3 for this. I think this is good applications.
All right.
Next up, Silver Moon Sentinel. 3 mana, 2/5, Taunt. Mana Thirst 8, +2/+2, and Divine Shield. 4/7 Taunt, Divine Shield for 3.
I mean, the 4/7 Divine Shield taunt. Could I run this in Druid as like? I mean,
You could.
Because
I'd rather just kill them. You could run this.
Yeah, you could just play scale. I know what you mean. But you also
just play alignment and then they die.
Yeah, and you just want to hit Wild Growth instead of playing a minion. So,
I interest you in a 1.
I don't know. I mean, when you get to 8 mana, it's really good. But yeah, it's probably 1.
It's good in Druid sometimes, but I'd rather just kill them.
You need to have 8 mana crystals.
It's better than what else we do.
4/7 Divine Shield, the taunt is so good for 3 mana. So
what
annoying.
about 0 mana 4/6 taunts for armor?
Yeah, that's true. All right.
My issue with this is not. It's not that it's not good in Druid once you hit 8 mana. My issue is you have to take cards out of your deck to put this in instead.
Yeah.
That's the part I start to struggle with.
Wonder what decks should be good in like Warrior or all right, I'll give it a 1. So, all right.
Next up, Sun Fury Clergy. 3 mana 2/4, Battlecry, restore 3 health to all friendly characters. Mana Thirst 6, restore 6 health instead.
Cards like this that are objectively worse have seen play. I'm gonna give this a 3. So,
all right. This card, it's strangely kind of good looking, but at the same time, I'm giving it a 1 because I'm not going to put it in any decks.
Yeah, well, when Happy Ghoul comes back, Happy Ghoul's out right now, right?
Oh, yeah,
like
it's out.
So I just
Fungal Enchanter was the card. It was like 3 mana 3/3, restore 2 health to all friendly characters. This is better.
This is just better, and the Mana Thirst is way better. It is a lot has changed, but I mean. Like I run this with some sort of North Shore cleric bullshit. I don't know. Like there's like the effect is strong enough that something I think will show up in the next 2 years or a year and a half. So
reasonable. Next up, Plague Spreader. 4 mana 4/4 undead. Death Rattle, transform a random minion in your opponent's hand into a Plague Spreader.
This card is like, people are gonna hate this card because somebody's gonna make a Plague Spreader deck, you know, regardless if it is good. It's gonna, yeah. But is it actually competitive? Is the question.
Oh, hell no.
So
4 mana 4/4 that has to die to
yeah,
not kill the opponent.
yeah. This would be like what's the Weasel Tunneler Plague Spreader. Yeah, all right, I'll give it a 1. So. Yeah.
Another Weasel Tunneler deck. Next up, Sanctum Spellbender, 4 mana 3/6. Whenever your opponent targets another minion with a spell, redirect it to this.
So people just like, I mean,
If your Boon Priest opponent doesn't just silence this, there you go. You eat all their buffs. You stop the Wig Priest from wigging anything. If they can't kill them.
because you could use but they just, so it's like if they don't have silence, they're
Or board.
effed. But
If they don't have silence or board, they're effed.
so you convinced me that it's a 2. Then I was gonna give it a 1, but
I'm giving it a 1.
I run it in my tech card hate lineup. So yeah,
Got 'em covered.
so tech cards that have the potential to see play get 2s in my book. So anyways.
Next up, Silver Moon Armorer. 4 mana 4/4 with Rush. Mana Thirst 7, gain 2/2. 4 mana 6/6 with Rush on 7.
How are these? This card like is so bad. It's a 1. It's irrelevant. Yeah, it's not. I
It's
don't know why like they think this card would ever be good. You know, like
They probably don't.
yeah, it's yeah. So okay.
Next up, Street Sweeper. 4 mana 2/2, Battlecry, deal 2 damage to all other minions.
Arena exists. That's true.
I think Sweeper's a 2.
The 2 or 3. Yeah, I mean, I think Spammy's better than this card.
Sammy
and it's
can
all
do a
other
lot
minions.
more. This can come down a turn earlier.
Yeah. Like, do I run this in like Druid
Yeah,
instead of Spammy?
or maybe Blood DK instead of like a Corpse Explosion or Spammy. I don't know.
Oh no, you never run this in Blood DK. No way. Like this, that you run this in decks that have terrible removal, right? Like
Blood DK surprisingly doesn't have good AoE early. I don't know if they need it, but Corpse Explosion or Blood Boil are like the first things you can do, which come online at 5. And Spammy does too, which also comes online at 5.
yeah.
So whatever. I'm giving it a 2.
I'm wondering. I'll give it a 2 just because it's whatever. It's neutral. So okay.
Next up, Infectious Ghoul. 5 mana 5/4 undead. Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion. Death Rattle, summon an Infectious Ghoul.
So what was the Druid card? That was the 4/6
Greybow.
Greybow. This is a neutral Greybow.
Yep.
So if you could find the right deck for it, it's insane, but it's terrible until then, right? So it's
Greybow wasn't even really that good.
yeah,
It
until
got
you
played
could
a little
cheat it
bit.
out. Yeah, and it had taunt.
Because it had taunt.
I just know the one time, a few times. Yeah, so it's yeah, but you can use it's a neutral, so some deck can like that like you could do it. There's 11 classes now, so if one class can find a way to like what happens when I play this card and then I just go Tamsin's Phylactery on my board and then my opponent I just never run out of Greybows, you know?
I mean, until they kill all your minions.
Yeah,
Can't do that.
if they do it as if they have a board clear, but like they have to have double board clear really, you know, because all my minions have it, right? So
Yeah.
all right, I've talked myself up to a 2 because of the Tamsin's Phylactery. So all right.
Well, there you go. Good for Warlock. You got
All
it.
right. Actually, this might
Next up.
actually be great. Okay, anyways, okay.
Tenacious Sanlane, I guess. 5 mana 4/6 undead with lifesteal. Whenever this attacks, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero.
God, it's so bad. 1.
Yep.
Mm.
Although surprisingly, it's a decent thing to resurrect off of Warlock because you can like discard it, bring it back, and it's got lifesteal, and maybe that's relevant text. But otherwise, sucks.
Okay.
Next up, Translocation Instructor. 5 mana 4/4. Battlecry, choose an enemy minion, swap it with a random minion in their deck. Vol'jin, but for deck instead of hand.
Oh. Vol'jin sees play, but you can't target the cards in their hand. Vol'jin's bad.
Vol'jin is bad. I agree with that, yes.
But Vol'jin sees play, so that makes it not a 1, and this card's summer, so I'm going to give it a 2. So.
Okay. I'm not going to try to talk you out of it, but I'm giving it a 1.
Okay.
Next up, Bone Lord Frost Whisperer. 6 mana, 6/6 undead legendary. Death rattle. For the rest of the game, your first card each turn costs 0. You die in 3 turns.
Is this a 4? Like, I just slot this in my greed decks, and I don't necessarily need it. And then because tempo is a thing, so I just kill my opponent.
I'm giving it a 2. I have 2 possible applications for this. First, you play this maybe in Mine Room, because sometimes you play a Smokescreen, and you just randomly get free mana for the next 2 turns to kill your opponent. Or, I don't know, maybe you do play your Shambler and play this on 5, and then you have 2 turns after that to kill the opponent. I don't think that's really as good. So there's that. Or maybe you play this in Shaman. The idea being you play Bone Lord Frost Whisper, it dies. And then on the next turn, you play Alakir for 0. You Rock Biter it, and then you Criminal Lineup it, and you have like 48 points of charge damage.
I like it just for having like 8 free mana a turn, potentially, for 3 turns.
For a little bit.
But I guess the decks that have 8 free mana, but I mean, if you have like a reliable win condition, by the time, I don't know, Charge Warrior, yeah, it's great, actually.
Sure. Yeah, Charge Warrior, why not?
I'm gonna give it a 4. I know it's because it's flashy, mana cheat. It's wins the game.
I'll give it a 3 then. You've talked me up to a 3. I didn't
right.
think about Charge Warrior.
Yeah.
Next up, Shatterskin Gargoyle. 6 mana, 4/6 undead with Taunt, Death Rattle, 4 damage to an enemy at random. In the face.
Is there a way I can like cheat out lots of these and then just keep reviving them?
Warlock.
And then if I
you can ooze, discard your Shatterskin Gargoyle, and then you can resurrect it with Reborn.
Yeah, I'll give it a 1. I don't think it's good enough. So.
All right, not convinced. All right. Next up, Lorthamar Theron, 7 mana, 7/7. Battlecry, double the stats of all minions in your deck.
I'm gonna give this a 3.
Greed Lord. I'm gonna give it a 1.
I thought it was a 1, and I have inside information if I played against it, and it wrecked every game. It won the game when you played it. So.
You were also playing in Greed Lord Death Knight meta.
Yeah, that's true, but I'm not gonna give it a 1 then, So, but yeah, it was just so good in that Greed Lord meta. So, yeah, it was like the best. It was like okay.
Maybe we have a Greed Lord meta. Next up, Invincible. 8 mana, 5/5 undead beast legendary with Reborn, Battlecry, and Death Rattle. You have a random friendly undead +5/+5 and Taunt. So this can be part of that big Death Rattle smokescreen rogue I was alluding to.
Yeah.
So Forsaken Lieutenants and Undead, the Kobold is undead, and there's the Behemoth, which we're going to see soon, which is also undead. And Invincible, if you hit this off a smokescreen, you have a Lieutenant in play. That Lieutenant does become like a 7/7 Taunt, which is not the worst. Or you could have a Lieutenant in play. Then on turn 3, you play like Sketchy Information, hit your Illusionist, get a 5-cost Invincible, and coin that out. And then you run in your Lieutenant, and that Lieutenant becomes invincible and buffs your other Invincible. And then when that Invincible dies, it buffs your other Invincible, blah, blah, blah.
And when that doesn't work, you just play it on 8, and your opponent can't deal with it, and you can win. So,
is it weird enough that you can cheat this out anywhere else?
Show the signature version? Wait, what's the signature version? Oh.
It's an alternative cosmetic.
Oh, I don't know where to see that. So
I'm going to give it maybe a 2.
I'm giving that. We'll go with a 4.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Wow. Fair enough.
I've literally. I'm going with. I see you chat spamming 4.
All right.
I
sure.
go with
4 it is.
I'm using the wisdom of crowds or the foolishness of crowds, depending on where you, so.
And
But
now we
it
got
was
our
it was
last
it was
card, I
really
think.
strong in the greed meta. So, anyways.
Oh, no, not quite our last card. Well, the last card's Sunwell, but this is our second to last. We have Flesh Behemoth. 9 mana, 4/8, undead with taunt. Death Rattle, draw another undead, and summon a copy of it. Importantly, this cannot pull another Flesh Behemoth, which I was very sad to find out. Has to have a different name.
The another tag.
So this is one of those big things you discard with Warlock's Ooze. You discard this, then the Ooze dies, you summon a copy of Flesh Behemoth, and when that dies, it draws another undead and summons a copy of that.
I mean, this might be really annoying if you cheat it out. So I'll give it a 2. So
yeah, I think a 2 is about right. I can put it in Smokescreen Rogue as well.
oh yeah, or I could play it for 0 after my 6/6 dies. So
Yeah.
and yeah.
And so the last card then is Sunwell, which we already have in the game, which is a 2, I guess.
I agree, a 2. Yep. Okay.
That's a good prediction. So the last card then, you have a rating on our 0-cost Priest spell that gives every undead you play that next turn Reborn.
Oh, I'll give that a 2. Wait, so because I can play, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Oh, that means we have rated Rogue the highest.
Yeah, yeah. Lucky you.
Yeah,
But they're all value rogue cards, so they're not.
Mage the lowest.
Yeah.
1.9. Although I don't think these average ratings are necessarily going to be that helpful because we got some of these like a single card can make a new deck.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, so concoctions are a whole package, but they're all the concoction cards do seem individually strong. So yeah.
So spreadsheet wise, I don't have anything in place for the other Death Knight cards. Do you want to rate those, or do you want to skip rating those?
Is there an easy spot where we can? Is it? Let's see. I could do that, but we don't have a. Yeah, you're right. We don't have a spreadsheet.
Yeah, we got the Path of Arthas.
Path of
and the core
Arthas.
cards.
Okay.
You want to do that?
Does the Path of Arthas have? Okay. Yeah, let's do that because I mean it feels like a new expansion, right? So let's do Path of Arthas first.
Spreadsheet. Yeah, they're not going on the spreadsheet, but we'll just do it here.
Okay.
So Horn of Winter, 0 mana Frost spell, refresh 2 mana crystals, 2 Frost rune requirement.
I think it's a 4. So.
Yep, this is a 4. This is going to be nuts. Not much more to say. Good combos, good developing, is good. Next up, Bonebreaker. 1 mana, 1 Frost rune, 2/2 weapon. After your hero attacks a minion, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero.
It's a 2 or 3. It was. Yeah, I'll give it a 2, but yeah.
I would go for a 1 on this personally. I don't think it's going to do enough.
I'll give it a 3. I died to it like 80 times, so yeah, so I'm biased. All right.
Sure, Bonebreaker is the nuts.
Yeah.
See what happens when you play against not Death Knight classes, though.
Okay.
Next up, Icy Touch. 1 mana Frost spell, deal 2 damage to an enemy and freeze it. Is this a better Frost Bolt?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess so. No wonder now. I don't think one person ran this card. The Death Knight, despite the fact any class can run it. So
yeah, no rune requirement. It does look like a better Frostbolt.
All right, you convinced me with better Frostbolt, so I'll give it a 2. So
yeah, I would say about a 3 on this.
Okay.
I think Frost X in particular are gonna love it. Next up, we got Ymir Jar Frostbreaker. 1 mana, 1/2, 1 Frost rune requirement. Battlecry, gain +1 attack for each Frost spell in your hand.
It's annoying. I'm gonna give it a 1. I don't think you even run this in Frost spell decks.
Yeah, Frost spell decks are at this weird crossroads of you want to play a bunch of Frost spells.
Yeah.
But those Frost spells don't really have any synergy with doing this minion plan early. If you do the minion plan early, you can't play as many Frost spells.
Yeah.
Could sometimes be Flame Imp. Usually probably isn't. I don't even think Flame Imp would be good enough. Next up, Blood Tap. 2 mana Shadow spell, 2 Blood Rune requirement. Give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Spend 3 corpses. Give them +1/+1 more.
This card's terrible. Yeah, it needs to be like and draw a card, and then it could be playable. But I'm gonna give it a 1.
You don't believe in hand buff?
Yeah, I mean, like Alliance Bannerman is a good card, but that's also has a body and draws a card. So yeah, and it is in a deck archetype that runs tons of minions. So
You can buff up your Mr. Smite. You can buff up your Chain Gang that summons 2 copies of itself. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying. I think Blood Tap is a
trying.
2.
Okay.
It's a good card for, I think, a bad deck.
I think it's a bad card for a bad deck. So,
Got it.
anyways, all right.
Dark
I mean, could we compare this
Transformation.
to like the old conditioning?
Yes.
They didn't have to spend corpses, and
You have 3
and could go up to 3/3. It's kind of like so, yeah. Because when you have 3 corpses, it'll be around like turn. Because it's awkward to get those corpses on the 1, 2, 3. You know, so. Anyways. All right.
Cool. Next up, Dark Transformation. 2 mana, 1 Unholy Rune, Shadow Spell. Transform an undead into a 4/5 undead monstrosity with Rush. Can hit enemy undead. There you go.
Oh, so I can. Okay, I'm still going this one.
But yeah, I'm kind of on a 1 for this too. It doesn't really feel like it feeds a good plan for an undead deck. Next up, Death Chiller. 2 mana, 2/3 elemental, 2 Frost Rune requirement. After you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to 2 random enemies, but they have to be different enemies.
Kind of. I mean, that's kind of like the mage card, right? The
Flamewaker.
Flamewaker. It's not.
Or also the 2 mana Kolkar Pack Runner back when that card used to be 2.
Yeah. And,
Both cards that were very good.
All right, I'll give this a 3. So.
I would go as high as a 4 on this. I think
Okay.
this is gonna not just clear boards, but also kill people and give you more time to kill them.
Okay.
Next up, Hematurge. 2 mana, 2/3 Battlecry. Spend a corpse to discover a Blood Rune card.
Yeah, the discovers of this were, I remember, really good, but like you can't play it on curve, which is annoying. So it's kind of. So I think it's just a 2.
Yeah, it's more awkward than it looks like, but it's a 2. It's
Yeah.
good enough.
Chat, you always think this card's a 4? Did you watch me get annihilated? You know, like, I don't know. It's like, anyways.
Next up, Plague Strike.
Goes in every 2. I mean, yeah, it probably does, Slimes. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
Alright, it's Plague Strike, 2 mana Shadow Spell, 1 Unholy Rune. Deal 3 damage to a minion. If that kills it, summon a 2/2 zombie with Rush.
I give this a
I've
2.
warmed to this card. I would give it a 3, I think.
Okay.
I think this goes in every single Unholy deck. Kind of as a better flanking strike. Seems good.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Next up, Vicious Bloodworm. 2 mana, 1 blood, 3/2 beast. Battlecry, give a minion in your hand attack equal to this minion's attack.
I give this a 1.
Yep. I have one application for this, which is that you play your hand buff deck, and you hand buff your Vicious Bloodworm, and then play it when the only card left in your deck is a Mr. Smite. You get him.
Yeah.
But it's a 1. Next up, Asphyxiate. 3 mana, 2 Blood Rune Shadow Spell. Destroy the highest attack enemy minion.
I think it's a 2. It was kind of useful. It's like better deadly shot. So
Way better Deadly Shot.
yeah.
Yeah,
Deadly
2
shot
seems
doesn't
about
see
right.
play, but so we kind of liked it. So
This might. Next up, Darkfall and Neophyte. 3 mana, 2/5 Undead. 1 Blood Rune. Battlecry. Spend 2 corpses to give all minions in your hand +2 attack.
like
If you hated conditioning, you probably hate this, right?
this card, why not +2 health as well? Like this card's so bad.
Well,
I mean,
that'd be kind of broken.
I mean that would be really good actually. I mean, how about
Yeah.
+1/+1? You know, make it's still not as good as probably as Alliance Bannerman because there's no condition and you get a card draw. So I'll give this a 1. So
I'll also give it a 1, but maybe Rush Warrior gets there in the current year.
okay.
Next up, Glacial Advance. 3 mana Frost Spell. 1 Frost Rune. Deal 4 damage. Your next spell this turn costs 2 less.
I think it's a 4.
Yep, seems like a 4 to me. Kind of like a Bone Spike, but also better because it can go face and activate your chiller turns. It's powerful stuff. Howling Blast. Up next, 3 mana Frost Spell, 1 Frost Rune. Deal 3 damage to an enemy and freeze it. 1 damage to all other enemies. Much better swipe.
This was so annoying. I'm gonna give this a 4.
Yeah, I'll give this another 3, I think. Very solid. Just more damage. Damage synergizes with damage, clears up the board, freezes things, does it all. Next up, Unholy Frenzy. 3 mana, 1 Unholy Spell. Choose an enemy minion, your minions attack it, resummon any that die.
This is hard to use, but it's kind of cool. I'm gonna give it a 2. So
I'd give it a 1 because I heard the words hard to use.
Yeah,
That feels like it speaks to me.
yeah. I mean, some people
Like,
ran
your minions have to die. Your opponent has to have a minion, but you also presumably want to kill, and so much has to line up there.
But
Both have minions,
it's
they have
so
the
good
right
for
attack and
juicing.
health.
So it's so good for juicing. And this is a sire deck, so yeah. I don't
All
know.
right, sure. Juice the Sire.
Yeah.
Next up, Lady Death Whisper. 4 mana, 4/3 legendary, triple Frost Rune Undead. Death Rattle, copy all frost spells in your hand.
He's a 4, so
Yeah.
you get so many of those refresh. So you play this, you have 1 refresh. Now you got more value and 0 mana, like 4 more mana for future turns. Yeah, it's.
I mean, when I look at this, I think as long as you copy a single Frostworm's Fury, it's a 4.
Yeah.
That card's really good. Next up, Malignant Horror. 4 mana, 2/4 Undead with Reborn. At the end of your turn, spend 5 corpses to summon a copy of this minion.
So
More hand buff.
It was hard to make work, but it might be playable. Like the theory, like it is really annoying, and you get the corpses back. So if you play this, you spend 5 like you play this, you spend 5 corpses, and then you get 2 2/4s. It is annoying if you get like but.
Yeah, you don't want any of those 2/1 non-reborns copying themselves for 5 corpses.
Yeah, but if this had taunt, it would be bad shit. But it doesn't have taunt. But I don't know. Wasn't quite good enough. But I'm not convinced it's bad yet. So I'm gonna give it a 2. So
yeah, I'll stick to my. I think a 2 might be about right, but it probably is more of a 1.
yeah. So
You don't like
I could see
handcuffing
it. I could see it being really strong if somebody figures out the right way to make it work, or the right deck to make it work, or the right so.
Right. Next up, Might of Menethil. 4 mana, 4/2 double Frost Rune weapon. Battlecry, spend up to 3 corpses. Freeze that many enemy minions.
I feel like this is a 1. Just doesn't feel.
Yeah, I'm not digging the Frost weapons. I think it's a fine card. It's just that Frost doesn't have the corpses. That's all.
Yeah.
If Frost had the corpses, this would be very
like
good.
yeah. I'm just so.
I want to spend my corpses on other stuff.
So
Next up, Nerubian Swarmguard. 4 mana, 1/3 Undead with Taunt. Battlecry, summon 2 copies of this minion.
So if you somehow have 3 corpses and you play the double blood on this, you can play this and get a bunch of 3/5s. But
Yep.
I think this is terrible. I'm gonna go with. We tried to make it work. I think. I don't know, but it's. I think I'm gonna go with the 1. So.
Okay. I'll give it a 2 for hand buffy synergies. Tomb Guardians. 4 mana shadow spell, double Unholy Rune. Summon 2/2 zombies with Taunt. Spend 4 corpses to give them Reborn.
I think this is a really good card. So
Yeah,
I'll give
this strikes me as a 4.
yeah, I'll give it a 4. Sounds good.
But you even refund all the corpses you spend.
Yeah,
So hard
I think
to get.
right.
through.
That's the menacing zombie. Yeah, they're not corpseless ones. So yeah.
Very powerful stuff. Next up, Blood Boil. 5 mana, double Blood Rune shadow spell with Lifesteal. Infect all enemy minions. At the end of your turns, they take 2 damage.
Yeah, this card was like we thought was going to be really good, and then our opponents just didn't play minions. It was rough. So
Yeah, you were also in a Greed Lord meta.
yeah, so
In a non-Greed Lord meta, this card could be absurd.
I mean, it's supposed to be like Rancor, but so it's that's what we thought would be really good, and then so maybe it's good enough. I don't know.
I'm
I'll
giving
give it
it at least a 3.
I'll give it a 3. I guess it's one of the if blood needs this to be relevant. So, anyways,
It does. Next up, Corpse Bride. 5 mana, 4/4 Undead. Battlecry, spend up to 8 corpses. Summon a Risen Groom with stats equal to the amount of corpses you spent.
this feels like Abyssal Summoner, but 1 less, but worse because there's no taunt and you have to use corpses. So,
I think it's quite good for unholy decks. Because you need ways of spending your corpses to discount your giants. This
yeah,
is really good at doing that.
but I don't know. I'm not a believer. I'm gonna give it a 1. It just
I'll give it a 3.
okay.
Hell, maybe even can play this in blood. Kind of way to kill people. Next up, Marrow Manipulator. 6 mana, 5/5 Undead, triple Frost Rune. Battlecry, spend up to 5 corpses, deal 2 damage to a random enemy for each.
It's a 4. So
Looks like a 4 to me. Feels like a lot like Imprisoned Antane.
Yeah, it's stupid annoying.
Just pyroblast things and get us
Yeah.
5/5. Yeah. That's why I want to spend all my corpses on this and no other cards. Next up, Frostmourne. 7 mana, 5/3 legendary weapon. Death Rattle, summon every minion killed by this weapon.
He's the one. Just doesn't.
And it's a 1/2.
Doesn't.
Very slow.
Yeah, you could maybe they buff it to 5 mana, but yeah.
Yeah, 5 might be a little good. But at 7, seems a bit slow. Next up, Frostworm's Fury. 7 mana Frost spell. Deal 5 damage. Freeze all enemy minions. Summon a 5/5 Frostworm. Triple Frost Rune.
Yeah, the Snowfall Guardian got nerfed, so we could have this card. So this is
this
a
thing is
fat 4.
nuts.
So
Hard 4.
yeah. See
Next up
the
is
theme for
Scourge.
blue. All right.
Scourge, 9 mana legendary spell. Shadow. Fill your board with random undead.
I think this is a good card. This is I think a 4.
A 4, wow. I'm
Yeah.
going to go the opposite way. I think it's a 1. I
Okay.
think this is too slow for Unholy. Even though you do get a bunch of stuff. Alright, that's the Path of Arthas, and that leaves us just with the core cards for Death Knight.
So let's see, where do we
It'll start us off with Body Bagger.
oh, core, here we go. Core, and this showing this is okay, we just go okay.
So Body Bagger, 1 mana, 1/3 undead, Battlecry, gain a corpse.
I don't think this is, we tried this card, it doesn't feel very good, but sometimes you're desperate for 1 drop, so I give it a 2.
For Blood, this is probably not good.
Yeah.
For Frost, this might be okay, but I'm leaning towards it's not. For Unholy, this card's probably good. I would give this maybe a 2 or 3. I'm going to go with a 3. Just say that. 3 for Unholy. Next up, Heartstrike. 1 mana spell, 1 blood rune, deal 3 damage to a minion. If that kills it, gain a corpse.
He's a 1.
Yeah, I'd give it a 2, but it's not really that good. It's a Holy Smite, which is okay enough. And the corpse is a nice bonus, but it's mostly Holy Smite. Which was a card that got played until Light It Burns rolled around, and now not so much.
Yeah.
Next up, Noxious Cadaver. 1 mana, 1/2 undead, Battlecry, deal 2 damage to an enemy and your hero.
We were looking for 1 drops. This didn't feel that great. So I'm thinking it's a 1. So
Wow. I would go 3 on this, I think.
it yeah, so
I don't think
This
you keep
was-
this in the mulligan unless your opponent's very aggressive, but
yeah, well, that's what it's like. Okay, Death Knights felt like they had serious value issues. So it's like you just can't. You're not playing this on 1. I don't want this on 4. You know, so it's like it just felt terrible in all situations. So
I could understand feeling like you have value issues when everyone is building to counter blood. That's probably
yeah,
a
so
problem. Not where that card's at its best. But next up, we got Plagued Grain. 1 mana spell for triple Unholy. Gain 4 corpses. Shuffle 4 crates into your deck that summon 2/2 undeads when drawn.
I'm not sure. I think this I didn't think felt that great. Like the card that's like the Warlock that shuffles the 3/3s. Now you need more of this, but like you don't. I feel like you just don't want to be playing this on 1. You know, it's like I don't know. I don't
Depends
think
what your
it's,
follow-up is. If you got your Necromancer, if you got your 3/4, Plague Grain on 1 can feel good.
I feel like a
If you don't-
squirrel for like a druid just seems so much better, and that's not even making the cut these days. You know.
Yeah,
but-
I'd give Plague Grain a 2, I think.
I'll give it a 2. So yeah, maybe it's easy because you. I mean, if you can draw, but I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Next up, Rune Forging. 1 mana shadow spell, draw a weapon. Spend a corpse to reduce its cost by 1.
I don't think this is very good. I'm gonna give it a 1.
Yep, I'm giving it a 1 too. I don't think you have weapons worth drawing with this. Not yet, anyway. Next up, Skeletal Sidekick. 1 mana, 1/2 undead, Battlecry. Give a friendly undead +2 attack.
I think I give this a 1. So
I'm going to go for a 3 on this. I think in aggressive, unholy decks, this can be quite good. Mostly there, but maybe hand buff too, if that's a thing. Moving on. Battlefield Necromancer. 2 mana, 2/3. At the end of your turn, raise a corpse as a 1/2 Risen Footman with Taunt.
I think this is a pretty good card. Pretty annoying. Doesn't leave corpses.
Really makes the Plagued Grain worth it.
Yeah, so I think give this a 3. So
Yeah, 3 seems about right. Maybe even 4, depending on how
good way
aggressive corpse
to
decks can
spend
generate.
to get your giants down. Just if it's not answered, it's could summon a lot. So
Turn 1 Body Bagger into turn 2 this. Could be nuts. Yeah. This card looks really obnoxious to get through early. Looks good. Next up, speaking of, Bone Digger Geist, 2 mana, 1 Unholy Rune, 2/2 Undead. Battlecry, spend a corpse to gain +1/+2.
I'm gonna give this a 1.
Really? I'm going to give this a 3.
Okay.
Also very good for that Unholy.
Just another
aggressive.
spot like you just don't have corpses on 2, so you can never play this on 2, and I don't want this on 4, or 3. So
One way to find out.
yeah.
Next up, Defrost. 2 mana, 1 Frost Rune, Frost Spell. Draw a card, spend 2 corpses to draw another.
I think this is a 2 or 3. So it's
I'm leaning towards 2.
Okay, yeah, give it 2. Yeah.
I think you can actually even cut this from your Frost decks. Because Frost wants to spend corpses on Marrow Manipulator instead. You can just play other undead cards, the Vizier.
Yeah.
You have enough Discover. Next up, Frost Strike. 2 mana Frost Spell, double Frost Rune requirement, deal 3 damage to a minion. If that kills it, discover a Frost Rune card.
This is a 4. Like compare this to the 2/3, right? This I get to kill a minion, so it's more versatile. I can play it on 2 if my opponent plays something, and I discover Frost, which are OP. So I think it's a 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I can be convinced on a 4. Maybe a 3, but it's clearly a very good card. Pretty unconditional. It's going to work out all the time. Next up, Harbinger of Winter. 2 mana, 2/2, double Frost Rune Undead. Death Rattle, draw Frost Spell.
I think it's oh shoot. One second. Oh shoot. Oh crap! I closed out the.
Unlucky.
Yeah, my
I would give this
mouse.
a solid 3. It's going to just go in every single Frost deck.
There we
Period.
go.
It's not going to be OP or anything, but it's definitely going to just go in all those decks. Because you get the corpse, you get the card, you get the board presence.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. I'll give it 3. Thank you. Get the extra the raid, everybody. So yeah. Okay.
Next up, Obliterate. 2 mana, 1 Blood Rune. Destroy a minion. Your hero takes damage equal to its health.
Yeah, this is hard to use because you need every life you can get. I think it's a 1.
Yeah, I've kind of grown a bit colder on this card. Maybe a 2, but it might even just be something you don't play.
Yeah.
Just play Asphyxiate instead, perhaps. Probably.
Yeah,
just
that's what we ran.
It
Just like you can't afford to take 8 damage on something, So.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay.
Next up, Anti-Magic Shell, 3 mana, Shadow Spell, 1 Unholy Rune. Give your minions +1/+1 and can't be targeted by spells or hero powers.
It's a 2.
I'm leaning more towards a 1 on this.
Yeah, well, it wasn't
buffs
as useful as we
enough.
thought, but I could see. I don't know, like.
You really got a swarm to make this worth it.
Yeah. So,
It's a 3 mana Mark of the Lotus a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
Next up, Chill Fallen Baron. 3 mana, 2/2 Undead, Battlecry, and Death Rattle, draw a card.
Give this a 4.
Nice. I'll give it a 3. It's just solid. It's not going to break anything, but it's probably going to be played in pretty much all the Death Knight decks.
Every Death Knight's gonna run this, and it's better than Arcane Intellect. So
It sure is. After that, we got Graveyard Shift. 3 mana, 1 Unholy Rune. Summon 2 1/1 zombies with Reborn.
I think it's a 3.
Really?
A lot. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of corpses, a lot of stats, a lot of infusing. So
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 2 just because it activates some when undead die synergies. I'm not terribly concerned about getting enough corpses, but this is a ton of those corpses. Playable, perhaps. It sucks so bad to play 2 Mermies for 1 mana. Next up, Rhinefang Sword. 3 mana, 2/3, double Frost Rune requirement weapon. After your hero attacks, reduce the cost of a spell in your hand by 1.
I think this is a 4.
I'm going to go the opposite way. I think this is a 1. I think this is bait.
Yeah, so I have
You
inside
can use this to
information
set
of
up some.
getting crushed.
Well,
So
outside of
it-
using this to set up Frost Chiller combos, I don't know if this is any good.
it's it pays for its mana itself and it's 3 weapon hits, so and it has combo potential. So it's it wrecked me every time. So
All right.
anyways,
Find out if Death Knight mirror matches reflect the meta. Next up, Ymir Jar Deathbringer. 3 mana 3/3 undead, double unholy rune, taunt. Death Rattle, spend 3 corpses to summon a 3/3 Risen Ymir Jar with taunt. And the Death Rattle does count itself, so if you have 2 corpses and this dies, you do get the 3/3.
okay. Maybe like a 2. I don't know. Like some weird death rattle synergy. It could
I
use
think
it.
it's a 1.
Yeah. All right. You convinced me. Let's go to 1.
You're not going to have the corpses that early, I don't think, to spend on this.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Death Strike. 4 mana, lifesteal spell with 1 blood rune, deals 6 damage to a minion.
It's like a 2. Not that good, but you might be desperate for lifesteal and removal.
Yeah, I'll go with a 3. Just like 2 Drain Souls stapled together. Not too shabby for 1 card. Next up, we got Grave Strength. 4 mana, triple unholy rune, shadow spell. Give your minions +1 attack. Spend 5 corpses to give them +3 instead.
We thought this card was so good, and then no one played it, so it's hard to. But like, I still think I give it a 3. So
I'm
just
still
thought
giving this a 4.
yeah, I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. Yeah.
If you can just play an aggressive, swarmy undead deck, this
I mean, this is so much like this is like way better than Bloodlust, and it's like permanent, and yeah,
1 less mana, permanent buff.
Yeah,
You kill them.
okay.
Next up, Remorseless Winter. 4 mana, 1 frost rune, frost spell. Deal 2 damage to all enemies. Draw a card.
It's like a 3. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. 2 or 3 sounds about right for me.
yeah,
Well,
draws
it's
a
not
card.
terribly
And so,
efficient at doing anything, but it does a bunch.
yeah. I mean,
After that,
yeah. Okay.
any more thoughts on that? No?
No, I'm good.
Alright, next up, Repulsive Gargantuan. 4 mana, 3/6 undead, 1 frost rune. Enemy characters can't be healed.
Is it 1?
1, yes. Doesn't do anything. Next up, Saurian. 4 mana, 3/3 legendary, undead, 1 frost rune requirement with Reborn, Battlecry, and Death Rattle. Deal 2 damage to a random enemy.
Yeah, it's a 4.
This card does look very good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
It does like 6 damage, and it's a 3/3. It's like a big cold case.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's yeah, 6 damage, a 3/3, a 3/1.
2 corpses.
2 corpses, like
Undead activation.
like try value trading this off. You know, it's impossible. Like because you have a minion and your other minion that you want to trade into it dies, and it's like it just you just slap it down and you're gonna take 1,000 damage from this card. Like it's ridiculous. So
card's very good. I'll go with a 4 on that as well.
Okay.
Next up, Army of the Dead. 5 mana double unholy rune shadow spell. Raise up to 5 corpses as 2/2 risen ghouls with rush.
I think it's like a 3.
I'm really torn between this card is good and this card is terrible, and I don't know which one it is.
I think it was the best spend like your corpses card for like to get your giant down. So, but yeah, we weren't sure about it because like it doesn't give you corpses, so you lose lots of corpses, and corpses are valuable. So that's what's rough about it. It doesn't refund itself. Otherwise, you're right. It would be good. It would be way better if it refunded itself.
I don't know if it's a scale of Onyxia, if it's...
I'll give it yeah, I could see it being a 2. I'll give it 2, actually. So.
Yeah, I'll stick with 2. I think that's about right.
Okay.
Next up, Deathbringer Sarfang. 5 mana double blood rune, 3/5 undead legendary with taunt. Death Rattle returns main to your hand. It costs health instead of mana.
This could be 4 mana. It would still be terrible, so I'm going to give it a 1.
Yeah. This seems like a 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass on that too. It's too much damage. Next up, Possessifier. 5 mana 3/3 Battlecry. Summon 2 1/1 fighters with Rush and Reborn.
This is really good, I think. It's a 3. I think.
I'm gonna give it a 2. I think it's a little bit light on the
Yeah,
output. But yeah, it's a lot of corpses. It's immediate impact. It's a Renathal card. That's a nice way of saying it's a Renathal card. You never play it in 30. Next up, Rhyme Sculptor. 5 mana, 3/3 undead, 1 Frost Rune. Battlecry summon 2 1/1 Rhyme Elementals with Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to a random enemy.
Yeah, I think this is decent. It's annoying because like a 3 as well.
Yeah. I would go with a 2/1, I think. Okay. Only reason I see myself wanting is if Frost wants the corpses and the undead to die. And it might fill that role. On its own, it's not terribly impressive, but it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Next up, Corrupted Ashbringer. 6 mana, 5/2 weapon, lifesteal.
He's a 1.
I'm going to go with a 3 on it. I think it's better than it looks. I think it's a 20-point life swing. Really kills people.
With the class that doesn't kill people, so it's tough. So
you gotta kill him.
And it doesn't. It more keeps you alive. Yeah. So I don't know. It doesn't. Yeah.
Sure.
So
next up, No Muncher. 6 mana, 5/5 undead. Poet lifesteal. At the end of your turn, attack the lowest health enemy minion. 1 blood rune.
This is like this was okay. It's you can go face in theory if your opponent doesn't play things. But it's like so low stats. But it is a lot of heal. So I'm not sure if it's a 2 or 3, but maybe a 3.
I'm gonna go 4.
Okay.
I think this is one of the premier blood cards out there. Really good for hand buff. Don't forget the hand buff. Next up.
I forgot the hand buff.
Overseer Frigidara. 6 mana, 5/6 legendary, double Frost Rune requirement. Battlecry, draw 2 spells. If they're both Frost, deal 2 damage to all enemies.
You think this is a 4?
I think this is also a 4. It's body, it's removal, draw, it's everything. Finds you your Frostworm's Fury on 7. That's the most important part.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yep. Next up, Patchwork. 7 mana, 4/6 undead with 1 blood rune. Legendary. Battlecry, destroy a random enemy minion in their hand, deck, and battlefield.
I think it's a 4.
Yeah, it feels a bit like a 4 to me too.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's annoying as hell, I'm sure. Every blood deck will play it, probably.
Yeah, so...
Next up, Lord Marrowgar. 8 mana, 9/7 undead legendary, triple unholy rune. Battlecry, raise all your corpses as 1/1 risen golems with rush. For each that can't fit, give 1 +2/2.
I think this is a 4.
I think this is also a 4. At first, I wasn't sure what to think about it.
The rush is insane as well, so it's like, yeah.
This is so many stats.
Yeah.
This is like Raid Boss Onyxia.
If your opponent doesn't have a way to clear a board, it's over. So, and you get to swing the board. So if your opponent's ahead and they're going to kill you, they have to have either burn or clear. And if they're not a deck that doesn't have that, it's over. So.
Yeah, Marrowgar look very good. And then we get Stitch Giant, 10 mana double unholy rune, 8/8 undead, costs 1 less for each corpse you spent this game.
I think it's a 4. Really
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I can be convinced on a 4. 0 mana 8/8s tend to be pretty good.
And that's it. All right.
Nice.
A lot of force. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I really don't like the the rune mechanic in Death Knight. I've heard a lot of opinions about this. I'm curious what yours are.
Yeah.
Some people say it leads to more creative deck building. I think it's going to kind of do the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it's like, so you can't have certain, but yeah, it limits your choices. So it forces you into more Blizzard pre-established archetypes.
I think once you hit 2 of any one rune, you're very likely to instantly tip into the 3rd. Because like if I'm playing 2 Frost, you have to tell me that 1 Blood or 1 Unholy Rune cards are better than Frostworm's Fury and my 5/5. How are you going to convince me of that?
I think there'll be some. I'm not sure which is the. There's the green blue where you run green and you just run blue, so you can get the 3/4 that draws you tons of cards. So there's some stuff like that.
3/4 Undead Cult Master better than Lord Marrowgar?
Lord Marrowgar,
That's a hard
The
sell.
Team Unholy thought that, and because they ran 2 decks of that because card draw was very scarce and very valuable. Not in Frost. Frost just has ridiculous card draw and value generation, but the other classes like do not. So, so I think in theory, it's it's better than just having 3 classes here. So it's I understand the theory behind it, and if you don't have restrictions, it just then you get crowded out by whatever is the strongest combo. So limiting it, it's a tough one. In some spots, it's probably going to make things worse. Some spots can make things better. So,
and this right now, this is as good as the runes are going to look because this expansion is Death Knight themed. But if you look at our expansion for March of the Lich King here for Death Knight, you'll see there is 1 Frost card. There are 3 Unholy cards, and then there are 7 Blood cards.
Yeah.
Or 6 Blood cards, whatever it is.
So,
so imagine trying to do that distribution where you're trying to keep Frost, Unholy, and Blood.
Yeah, that makes it, that is
balanced.
Yeah.
But take it one step further, because now next expansion, let's say it's Voyage, and you're releasing packages of pirates and mechs and Nagas. And now you have to explore those themes within Death Knight within 3 different rune combinations.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to design cards like that, but I guess they'll figure it out.
Yeah, I mean they have to come up with cool ideas, which is tough. So if they can, they have 11 classes now. So if they come up with the cool ideas and they can figure out a way, I'd like to see some cards get like changed of, some cards get buffed to have, we're going to make this blood card only cost 2 blood now, I wonder if they can fix that around, they can use that to balance stuff, or they say, okay, this double green red card deck is too strong because of this 1 red, or this double green blue, so we're going to make this blue card. So I think for balancing issues, if they're willing to switch the colors, it could be interesting, because they could say, because sometimes what I don't like about Nerfs is like there's one deck that the card's OP in, and there's all these other decks that really like and enjoy the card, but it doesn't make it OP. But then all those decks get kind of destroyed. So if you have something like that, you can kind of nerf some decks without nerfing others, if that makes sense. So there are definite advantages to it. There are disadvantages. And so, but I do see the, but we'll see. Like there might be enough stuff to have plenty of deck building options. So I'm not. But yeah, it does limit. I hope like if they make synergistic cards, like one mana cards, and cards that are just kind of like the 3 mana green card is kind of a Blizzard built you the deck card. You play that in your win condition. But if they have more opportunity, so maybe they make more opportunities for deck builders who are willing to use one of a color or stuff like that. So
I'm sure at some point you're going to see cards that have like 2 Unholy, 1 Frost Rune as their requirement.
Yeah,
I'll definitely dip into that.
Yeah, so it's but yeah, it's so it's a new idea. It's trying things out. Not everything has to be perfect, and I think the idea is cool. So we'll see how it works in practice. If there's just like if it's just Frost that's OP and the other decks are irrelevant, that can kind of stink. So we'll see how it works. But then it, like I said, it does add a lot of weird variables for sure. So.
And are you going to keep streaming?
Oh yeah, I think I'll just keep streaming.
Right.
So.
I got some stuff to go run off and take care of, so I'll send everyone over to you.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Good review.
Good one,
all right, talk to you later. Yeah, it's fun. All right, later.
Everyone, if you made it all the way to the end, chances are you really like this content, so thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you want to show your support of the live content, feel free to like and subscribe. Liking and subscribing always helps the algorithm to show that you like it, so the thing is more likely to give it to other people. In addition to that, if you are always wanting a NohandsGamer video, but some days I don't put one out because I don't know what to do, we have another channel, which is the NohandsGamer VODs, which is the raw, unedited content from my Twitch, where you get to see everything on the YouTube format. I highly recommend you go check that out, so you can get your NohandsGamer fix every day, even when I don't put out a normal YouTube video. Hope to see you guys in the next video.